Hello everybody, it's Mole Pupper here, and this is my very first video, let alone Kerbal Space Program video, so I'm going for something simple here. I had a really bad recording software. You can see on the left it only records in increments of about 7 minutes. So, first flight, I just designed this small rocket-powered aircraft. Nothing much. Jebediah doing his best, like always. And also the audio for this video didn't work, so I'm just gonna have to listen to my voice. Yeah. And here we have Jebediah Kerman taking off with the Vector engine on the rear end of his rocket. He is now coming down, performing his wonderful aerial maneuvers as Jebediah does, and doing the one thing that the Kerbals are amazing at, and that is dying. You see, this mission wasn't intended to succeed. It was just intended to look good. And now we have the dead Jebediah Kerman being immediately restored by the revert flight button, coming back to the runway so he can once again fly around his insanely overpowered craft with only about 20 seconds of fuel at 80% thrust, accelerating to 100, 200, nearly 200, 300 meters per second, and still accelerating, breaking the sound barrier. You can see Jebediah Kerman's giddy grin as the aircraft pitches upward, and the flight is accelerated so that you don't have to be bored. And the test flight is just going for a little hop out of the atmosphere, maybe 50,000 feet, maybe less, just for a proof of concept of this ship. It'd be nice if Jeb were to survive. Let's just say that. You will see a few weird clips of this video where it's jumping in between frames, and that is when the 7 minutes and the 7 minutes split because of the bad software. And Jebediah is piloting his spaceship like he does, which is poorly at best. However, he's had good luck today and was able to make it into space just above 50,000 meters. So looks like Jebediah is having a good time today, cruising around past apogee. However, he is out of fuel, so he's just going to have to coast down to the ground, which is a good proof of concept for this vehicle. However, it's not all. We will be building a larger and much better vehicle to send this airplane to space to orbit, because it cannot do it by itself. Now we have Jebediah re-entering the atmosphere in his spacecraft, the flames of plasma going by his window as he has fun with his weird little grin as he plunges toward what some would say is certain death. And with the worst of the aerodynamic heating underway, Jebediah and his poorly designed spacecraft comes in for a rather smooth landing up ahead. Well, smooth is what Jebediah would say, but it's not what I would say. I would say it looks absolutely terrifying, but you'll just have to wait and see. Now, in the point of view from Jebediah, we can see his approach, doing the fun upside-down rolls that he loves to do. He just slowly glides down. Jebediah doing a very stupid air brake as he wants to make it to the land. However, there's not much he can do. He's out of fuel. He's going to have to ditch it in the water. Now, Jebediah takes his, bad water landing as a wonderful landing because, of course, he has died many dozens of times in my hands and, well, probably millions of times in the hands of all the players of Kerbal Space Program. But now we see Jebediah coming in low, down to 1,000 meters, and he is lining up to nothing because there is no runway, doing another very stupid air brake, losing almost all of his speed. Now, once again, time warping forward so that you don't have to watch this. He is descending more and more down to 200 feet, 150 feet, meters, 100 meters, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, and oh, he rises right up again. Miscalculated there, and oh! That looked painful, but not for Jebediah, as he is the toughest in the land. And now with Jebediah Kerman on the side of his vessel, holding on for dear life before he falls into the water and probably drowns, he just reverts right back to the spaceplane hangar and forgets all of it because none of it ever happened because he just went back in time. And now, finally, the construction of what I promised to you, the huge airplane to carry this into space. That's right, this is a strato launcher. You can look it up. This is a massive airplane with 2 fuselages on the side and 1 spacecraft in the middle. In the launch, the spacecraft is dropped off of the center once at altitude and fires up its massive rocket engine and shoots into space. However, right now it's being built, and you can see the fuel lines and the fuel tanks and the structural fuselages all being put up. Right here you can actually see I forgot to put on two-way symmetry. So I only have RCS, which is Reaction Control Systems, on the left side of the plane. It's kind of a problem, but it doesn't really matter. And now, the final launch. This is sped up a lot because the video would have been 16 minutes, maybe more. So it's just very fast, a frame every 5 seconds or so, maybe less. And accelerating into space, you can see the outermost engines with the turbo ramjets. The inner engines shut down as there's not enough air, and we get up higher and higher, and it separates. And the main airplane is just going to fall to the ground and explode. But our amazing little shuttle airplane shooting up with its vector engine into the cosmos with the bright red from the aerodynamic heating, flying off into space. We can check the apogee, or the apoapsis as Kerbal Space Program calls it, and it is coasting around the Earth, or Kerbin as Kerbal Space Program calls it, even though it's mostly the same. We have Jebediah Kerman coming out for an EVA, or extravehicular activity, on the outside of his rocket. He is flying around with his RCS jetpack. He is coming up to the front, and, however, he is getting quickly scared by the vastness of space, so he decides to be a wimp and fly right back to his rocket. As you can see, he is flying back, dropping down to its level, and getting ready to come back in where it's nice and warm and you don't have to worry about getting all the air sucked out of your lungs and your blood boiling, because that's not very fun. But Jebediah, back in his airplane, his rocket airplane I should say, does one more burn in just a moment so that he can fully circularize his orbit. And now he's coming back into the atmosphere, and he unfortunately had to ditch his airplane because, well, it didn't pitch up. That's right. And now he's plummeting towards the ground. Luckily, he survives after his parachute gets cut. However, that's another success?